Good morning and welcome to Atlantic Blowout on Atlantic Television Network. This is a syndicated live program of the network featuring chit-chatting and conversation on special interest topics, news, events and stories through correspondence reports, expert opinion and stakeholders analysis. In headlines for today, oil spillage, reps calls for cleanup in Rivers State. In Enugu State, youth issues Fulani headsmen 48 hours ultimatum to vacate. Alleged corruption, court orders interim forfeiture of 1.37 billion naira diverted under El Rufai. Federal Capital Territory, indigenes propose Kwali be made capital. NCOS, we will make correctional centers less congested. This is from Tunji Ojo. And finally, on the consumer protection, still FCCPC sues MultiChoice for increasing DSTV Gold TV subscription. Do not forget, we are still open for advert placements, bookings and commercials. You can connect with us on all our ATN socials on Facebook and YouTube, on Atlantic Television Network on Instagram and TikTok, on Atlantic TV Network 1, on Twitter, on Atlantic TV Net. You can still watch us live on our website at www.atlantic.net.tv. As always, we will go on a quick break. When we return, we will continue with the rest of the stories. To stay with us.
The board, management and staff of Morrison Media Group presents the 2025 anniversary lecture of Atlantic Television Network and Wish 99.5 FM. Theme: Imperative of Private Media in Sustainable Development.
Keynote speaker, Professor Tony Iradia, erudite scholar and broadcast guru. Chairman, Professor Umar Pat, President, Society of Broadcasters, Nigeria, and Vice Chancellor, Federal University of Kashiri, Gombe State. Panelists, Chief Honorable Arthur C. Kalabo, Information and Communication Expert. Dr. Harker White, Lecturer, Public Relations, Media and Communication. Dr. Bekwele Lawrence DK, Lecturer, Marketing Communication and Public Relations. Opaka Dakuba, Chairman, South Nigerian Union of Journalists. Suzanne Serekara Nwikana, Chairperson, Nawach River State. Chief Host, Dr. Chinyere Igwe, Esquire, FSM, FIMC, FNIMN, MNIM, ARPA, MIPPA. Chairman, Morrison Group. Date, 10th of March 2025. Venue, Dimeji Banquet Hall, Gate Place Hotel, Kilometer 5 East West Road by Obinkwere Flyover, Rumosi, Port Harcourt. Time is 11 a.m.
Call Kehinde Paul Obofadi on 0802 301 5728. That is 0802 301 5728 or info@atlanticnetwork.tv or info@wishfm995ph.com. You can also call Laurentia Ogu on 0818 344 6746. That is 0818 344 6746 or lead content at atlanticnetwork.tv. This is signed by management.
Welcome back. Joining us here is Dr. Nelson V.C. Okene. He's a senior lecturer from the Department of Political and Administrative Studies in the University of Port Harcourt. Thank you so much for joining us here. Thank you so much, sir, for being here. I'm glad I actually dragged you here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for being here today. It's a pleasure. Thanks. House of Representatives Committee on Environment on Wednesday directed the immediate commencement of the cleanup of impacted communities by an oil and fire incident at Well 8 Buguma Degema local government area of Rivers State. The chairman of the committee, Honorable Pondi Julius Bobujo, stated this while reading the resolution of the committee at the end of the hearing over a petition against activities of the NNPC 18 Operating Limited. The committee directed the NNPCL and NEOL to immediately provide an urgent intervention by supplying relief materials to the affected communities. The committee granted the request for a 3-week extension to NNPCL and NEOL for a fair hearing and the right of reply on the engagement. A gas leak was reported on 1st December 2024 at OML 18 Well 8 Buguma Degema LGA in Rivers State. Thereafter, a joint investigation team comprising of the NNPC 18 Operating Limited, NOSDRA, NUPRC, Rivers State Ministry of Environment, and the representatives of Buguma community visited the site on 6 December 2024, during which certain directives were issued to the operation to foretell further escalation. I would love to get your thoughts on this quickly, sir. The deep breath was actually necessary, but I'd love to get your thoughts on this.
Okay, it's interesting that the House Committee on the Environment is doing their work.
Okay.
But each time you see something like this, you know, it's already a sort of evidence of failure of the system to run seamlessly. Because for the House Committee on the Environment, this is like an intervention. Intervention because those who ought to do the right thing have failed to do it. And communities are now going beyond themselves to organize, get lawyers to sue, drag companies to the House of Reps, spending money they could have used to do other things to pursue their rights. And this is also a little more concerning because before now our concern will be that it's IOCs. They do not care. They are not indigenous. They don't have our interest at heart. Now this is not IOCs. These are subsidiaries of NNPC.
Yes.
And they know what to do. They ought to do the right thing. They are stakeholders too in the health of the system and the environment. We don't have to wait until we do another circle of what happened in Ogoni, until we have crisis, until we have more serious environmental degradation before we intervene. For a spillage that happened in December up till now, cleanup has not been done. What is the state of the environment? How is it impacting the people living and all that? We shouldn't wait for people to go that far before they do the right thing. So the committee is doing well, but those subsidiaries of NNPC that are responsible should they should do better.
Okay, thank you on that, Dr. Kene. You made mention of the Ogoni cleanup that they have also still they are still agitating for it up till now.
Yes.
Even in Bios State, you know, why do you think that it has not been considered? Considering the fact that the government has actually, federal government has come to say that they would want to continue oil exploration in Ogoni land very soon. Why do you think the cleanup exercise has not, you know, been put effectively in the necessary means that it's supposed to be done?
Well, I don't have the details as at now on what exactly is around in Ogun, but you can tell from outside that it's the politics of interests. There are a lot of interests. There are a lot of interest. There are a lot of when you have left something undone that you ought to do for such a long time, it takes a lot more. Of course, trust is broken on the side of the communities.
Yes.
Trust is broken between stakeholders and the government and the operating companies. So ordinarily what you would have said, oh, I will do, and they can trust you that you will keep your word. Everybody will wait for you to finish what you have committed to before you start, because they know that the moment you start, then they have lost the leverage, they have lost their bargaining power. So communities, stakeholders and all that are holding on to government to do everything they ought to do before they start.
So are you with the side of the communities that have been agitating for the cleanup before the oil exploration continues?
100%. I'm from River State, I'm in Niger Delta, and I know the first-hand experience of the problem of environmental degradation in the Niger Delta. And usually once government have their sources of income flowing, it's not just in oil, it's not just in Niger Delta. There's a bit of that laxity to go do the right thing. Consider even what is happening in the educational sector between ASU and the federal government.
Yes.
Everybody is relatively at peace now because ASU have not gone on strike again. But the issues are there. Government will do X, Y, Z, and they have refused to do it. Agreements have been negotiated and renegotiated, and they have refused to do it. When ASU takes the last plunge now to go on strike, which normally they would not want to do, then it will be that, oh, ASU lecturers don't want to teach and all that. Government should be a lot more proactive, and then they can offset crisis. But if they are not proactive, then it will take crisis to do anything right.
Thank you on that, sir. Quickly, I would also love to ask this call that has come up from the committee of the Committee of Environment in the House of Representatives, for the cleanup in Rivers State. You made mention of the fact that this is one out of many instances that has come up time without numbers, and nothing is done about it. Do we have to see that this is one out of the whole thing that we've been seeing, that they just come to see things that will please our minds and make us just sit back and like hopefully waiting for the best thing to happen, and afterwards we will go back to the normal life and all of that? Do you think this is a call that they will really want to put into and implement this cleanup that that has been called upon?
We hope so. We hope so, because those representatives too, if they are true to themselves, they are also from these communities. They are from communities, and they know what these things mean. They know what is happening, and I believe that they are serious.
Okay.
I believe that they should keep to their words, because it's not just about the individuals or the committee. It's about the integrity of the House of Representatives.
Yes.
About the integrity of the legislature and their capacity to hold the executive to account. They are playing their constitutional role. That's what we elected them there to do. So they should not take their words for granted. If they fail to hold the executive to account in this instance, then next time when they talk, operatives, ministers, and other responsible agents and of the government will not lift a finger. But if they insist, and of course they have all the constitutional means to enforce whatever they say, then they will respond adequately.
Okay. Thank you so much in that, sir.
Thank you.
Well, moving forward, Coalition of Southeast Youth Leaders, COSEYL, has issued a 48-hour ultimatum to Fulani herdsmen residing in Enugu State to vacate the land. The coalition, in a statement issued on Wednesday by its President General Goodluck Ibem, expressed concerns over alleged killings and rapes by suspected Fulani herdsmen in Iya Amufu Iziuzo, LGA of the state. Ibem described the activities of the alleged herdsmen as wicked, nefarious, and satanic, saying the coalition condemns it in its entirety. According to him, the so-called Fulani herdsmen are not herdsmen but terrorists who are on a land-grabbing mission, stressing that there is no correlation between the rearing of cattle and the killing of innocent human beings on their own town. In their own town, I'm sorry. The good people of Enugu have complained enough about these killings and rapes, and it's time for the governor, Chief Peter Amba, who is the chief security officer of the state and the chief of defense staff, to arrest these perpetrators and prosecute them accordingly. We call on the youth of Iheamufu, Iziozo, LGA, and other communities in Enugu State and the southeast states to wake up from their slumber and sack killers, Fulani terrorists parading as herdsmen from their communities, it states. I'd love to get your thoughts on this quickly, sir. Do you think this is something that will be that will actually work? Don't you think this will turn out to be a a bloodshed situation, because chasing these people out of a particular state will not be an easy scenario. There's been a case where most of these herdsmen have killed a particular human being because their cattle was slaughtered. You know, with that situation of preferring cattle to the life of a human being, that kind of instance. And this coming from the youths that oftentimes they have noticed the continuous attack on their people and raping and killing of these innocent citizens in the states. I'm sure this is not the only state that is actually affected. Well, it's good that the Southeast youths have come up to speak up against this. And why up till now has the government not actually come into the situation and then individuals are letting to take justice by their hands?
Okay, I will start on a general note first, and that is to say that part of the misfortune of governance in these climes is that a lot of people that have opportunity to play certain roles in government practically see those opportunities or politics itself, leadership in the public space as a career. And they are busy trying to be politically correct. They are busy trying to put themselves in certain posture in the eyes of those they think have the capacity to sustain their ambition or their career. Otherwise, the state has all the apparatus to deal with these issues. They have the resources, they have the security, the almighty security votes, they have the intelligence, they have the human and material resources to deal with these matters. By the time non-state actors, individual citizens, begin to come together to issue this kind of warning, then you know they have endured enough. And this is practically a declaration of war. And it tells on the state. It means that the government is not doing what they ought to do. It means that the chief security officer is sleeping. Because this kind of news have been all over the place, and the problem is not that there are no Fulanis or headmen that do their businesses legitimately, but criminality is festering under, wickedness is festering under. Some of the things they just described there, I cannot even bear to begin to want to repeat. The assault on women, very extreme and gory descriptions there. Those kind of things we have been hearing over and over and over. And any state government elected by the people with a promise to do the right thing by the people who elected them ought to be at the top of their game and make sure that these kind of things do not keep repeating. And the unfortunate thing is that when you ignore these kind of calls and the people go on to carry out their threats, it will lead to escalation. And from one state it could happen in another, and then you can have things get out of hand. So I want to call on the state government, the police, and all the agencies of the state to intervene and make sure that citizens live their lives in an atmosphere of peace and tranquility. That they should go about their businesses, legitimate businesses, and criminals should be apprehended and dealt with by the law. And all these things will come to an end.
Thank you so much on this. There's been an alleged statement that most of these headsmen are foreigners that come from Chad, the neighboring countries, Niger, and all of that into the country and cause mayhem in Nigeria. You know, and if we have to go to the north right now, we know the insecurity situation going on right in the north, and then as it stands, the leader of the Boko Haram terrorists has actually decided to make himself a known god to a point where he comes out in public and tax the citizens, you know, to pay. There was an instance that happened that one of his men was taken by the armed force. So in retaliation, he had to tax the citizens for selling them out in Sokoto states. For that reason, they have to pay for the loss of one of his men. You know, that kind of situation. And this particular individual has been roaming around the streets freely. The police actually, the military actually came out to say that we know where he is hiding. We know his hideout spots in the forest. We will track him. We're still waiting for him to be tracked. You know, this instance, just like the headsman situation, this, like you also rightly stated, this has been going on for a long time, up till now. Why has nothing been done about it? Why are these foreigners being allowed into the country to cause to you know, destroy lives and properties of Nigerians? Why has the government not, you know, decide to sit on their toes and say, okay, we're going to stop this once and for all?
You know, there are a lot of issues connected in the question and the issues you have raised now. Any country in modern times that is unable to govern its borders, unable to control who comes in and goes out, is really not yet serious for government. Because what that means, is that you don't know the people that you are responsible for.
Okay.
And anybody can come into your space, commit a crime, and go out. You can't be in control under that kind of circumstance. Let's break it down. If you, as a man, as a woman, you have a home, you live with your children, and your gates are perpetually open. Anybody can come in, stroll into your wife's kitchen, take food and eat, collect clothes, take the children's stuff and walk away, and is unchecked. What kind of family will that be? What kind of man will that be? What kind of planning will that man do in that atmosphere? What kind of commitment will you get from your children? Those children now can represent the citizens. Will they be happy? Will they feel responsible to the state? What will be their sense of patriotism? Because again, let's face it, no country in the world has capacity to actually effectively police its citizens without the active cooperation of the citizens. And the citizens can only actively cooperate with you if they are actually happy, if they believe in you. It is that sense of patriotism that will cause them to play their role as citizens. Do you know there's something they call citizen arrest? Citizens can actually apprehend a criminal and hand them over to the police. But they can only do that, they can only take that risk if they know that the apparatus of the state, the police itself, will do the right thing. And they will be protected. There will be no backlash after that time. So there are a whole lot of things connected. There's also the issue of politics. People having capacity to act on behalf of the people, failing to do it because they feel that certain personal or group interests will be jeopardized. If the army says they know where a criminal is hiding, to even say that publicly, then what is holding them? Is it that this non-state actor have become more powerful than the state? Is it that there are other things, powers from above restraining them? What are the issues? They are the only ones that can answer those questions. So there's a whole lot that is connected. But those who have made the conscious decision to be in governance and have asked for our power, our right, our votes, and we have voted and empowered them, should wake up and do the right thing. Because while the citizens are suffering for a season, it will also come to a time when they might be denied the opportunity to keep on playing those roles because they fail to use the power and the privileges rightly the first time. Okay.
Thank you on that. So quickly, I'll also ask you, in this instance that the South its youth have come to issue this ultimatum, 48-hour ultimatum, basically in 2 days. Imagine this Fulani headsmen decide not to leave. And then probably the issue continues in the states, particularly the Enugu state. Like you talked about, a disastrous situation that will occur. How do you think that will actually turn out? Yeah, we know it will be a disastrous situation. Let's say it gets to that point. Do you think that's when the government will want to sit up and decide to take the call into their hands?
I would not want to even imagine that the government will wait until the ultimatum time expires, until this group begin to fight openly before they come in, because then they might actually lose the initiative. So it's better that they step in as quickly as possible and first try to mediate between the groups. investigate these allegations, because these criminals can actually be fished out. Within the groups, in every community, even in our villages, those who even steal in the night, those days when we are growing up in the villages, somebody that does not own a goat, and suddenly the next morning he starts frying pepper soup and cooking goat meat. His immediate neighbors will perceive the smell and they'll be wondering, when did this man go to the market? Where did he be? And if they hear that goat is missing somewhere in the neighborhood, they can point and say, go and ask this man. No, he's been cooking goats since, and we don't know where he got his goat from. So the communities actually have a lot of information.
Yes.
And groups do. If the government use their intelligence and intervene, we have enough trouble already. There's too much poverty, there's too much uncertainty, there's too much stress in the system, and so we don't need to add more to it. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kenneth. Federal High Court sitting in Kaduna State has ordered an interim forfeiture of the sum of 1.37 billion naira allegedly diverted from the coffers of the state government into a private account during the administration of former Governor Nasir El-Rufai between May 2015 and May 2023. The money allegedly diverted into an account belonging to Indo Kaduna Mats JV Nigeria Limited was part of the funds released for a botched light rail project in the state during the past administration. The presiding judge, Justice H. Buhari, issued the forfeiture order in February 28, 2025, following an ex parte application brought before the courts by the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, which traced the diverted funds to a private bank account. The judge also directed ICPC to publish a notice in 2 national newspapers calling for persons, whether human, juristic or artificial, having interest in the property to show cause in court why the aforesaid movable property should not be permanently forfeited to the federal government. The ICPC had on February 14, 2025 filed an ex parte application to the court seeking the recovery of the money. The commission argued that the light rail project was never executed under the El-Rufai administration, thereby depriving the people of Kaduna State of the benefit of the rail transportation system which the fund was meant for. This is an alleged situation. Considering the fact that El-Rufai has actually been criticizing the present-led administration of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, I really don't know what to say about this, but I'd love to get your thoughts on this, please, sir.
I was just smiling as you were giving the brief. Maybe because of a certain level of awareness, seeing that El-Rufai have become very active in criticizing his former friend and all that. Any news, negative news that his name is brought into somehow, it might just be intended to rubbish him. I'm not saying he's innocent. If a certain allegation or crime or fraud happened under his watch, he should be held accountable. He should explain. But then it's also possible that all this is just intended to just drag his name into the mud. Now, there are questions I want to ask. For instance, that is the state government. They say the agency responsible where the money was diverted to is a state government agency. But they also made reference to the money being found in a private account. Is that private account personal account, or is that the account of the agency? Now, there is the advertisement that anybody that has a claim to the money should come and show reason why the money should not be forfeited to the federal government. If you have traced an account, a money to an account, that account has an account owner. Whether it is an agency or a private individual. So why are you now advertising that whoever, like you found money in somebody's house, in somebody's bedroom, and you're still going to the market square to ask, say, whoever kept this money or owns this money should come out and say whether it is money or not his money. But you actually found it in somebody's bedroom, in his locker. Why not tell us who this person is? Why not call this person out? Why not drag this person to the court? So if you ask me, some of that mystification is just intended to keep the name of El-Rufai and his government as the center of the whole matter. So let's hope that he's innocent. Let's hope that he's able to defend himself. In any case, if he's guilty or there are operatives in the state under him that are directly responsible, they should answer. But they should be called out. Somebody is heading that agency, was heading that agency when he was there. That person should be called out. And then if the money is already sitting in an account, that account has an owner. They should just call it, instead of just mystifying everything and saying it happened under the government of El-Rufai. That is insufficient to pin him down.
And considering the fact that El-Rufai tenure was in 2015, up till now, nothing was actually said over it until the whole criticism scenario that's been going on, and with his friend, he's still his friend, if we may say that.
Political associate and friend.
If we may say that. Is there supposed to be a reasoning that when you see something you want to complain of, no matter your relationship with the person, particularly in politics, you're not supposed to say out your mind? Because we know that there's been that backlash going on for a while now. El-Rufai coming out always to, make his criticism against this present administration. At the time where anybody decides to speak up, there's a dust that's swept out over the person's lifestyle or whatever the person has done. There's just been series of cases that, that can be related to that incident. If an individual sees something going on in a particular situation, or like the present administration, is it a wrong thing to speak up? Or at the time when you decide to speak up, that's when your past mistakes will be dragged out? Is that supposed to be what politics is all about? And I want to ask, in this incident, do we say it's also politically orchestrated?
Let me start from the last one. For now, we can't tell if it is politically orchestrated.
Okay.
It is possible, but we cannot tell conclusively.
Yes.
Until the investigations are properly concluded. They are in court now, so let's see what the whole process is about. For now, we are just engaging in some form of conjecture because all the details are not before us. As to whether it is normal or whether it is part of politics, yes, it is part of politics. People have their interests, and those interests can sometimes coincide with the aspirations of society. Sometimes those interests can also go against the aspirations of society. Now, where the interests coincide with the aspirations of society, we are happy. We celebrate it. Where they go against the interests of society and they become too parochial, too personal, whether for a particular individual or groups, then it becomes something that we frown at. But everything that is happening is normal in politics. People work together, and at some point they can also decide to fall apart, or fall apart because their interests no longer agree or something like that. But we need more of informed, credible opposition to government, because that is one thing that keeps government alive to its responsibilities. In any system where everybody just concurs,
yes,
even the government that has the ultimate or good intention for the society can become very easily derailed. So we need that. We need that. This other human rights lawyer and activist, what's his name? I was just not Faro. To me, great. He's doing a good job. There's this other lawyer that worked. No, not sorry. That worked with that was already very active when Gani Faromi was in what's his name again? So we need lawyers like that. We need activists. We need more of the El-Rufais. We need to hear the voice more of people like of Rotimi Amechi. We need all the, and it's even better when these people are members of the APC, not just the opposition. Let people come out when they see things going wrong, so that the government will do the right thing. The society needs it.
Well, thank you so much in this, Dr. Kenneth. Well, we'll go on a quick break. When we return, we will continue with the rest of the stories. To stay with us.
Morrison Media Group presents the 2025 anniversary lecture of Atlantic Television Network and Wish 99.5 FM. Theme: Imperative of Private Media in Sustainable Development.
Keynote speaker, Professor Tony Iredia, erudite scholar and broadcast guru. Chairman, Professor Umar Pat, President, Society of Broadcasters, Nigeria, and Vice Chancellor, Federal University of Kashiri, Gombe State. Panelists: Chief Honorable Arthur C. Kalabo, Information and Communication Expert, Dr. Harker Dwight, Lecturer, Public Relations, Media and Communication, Dr. Bekwele Lawrence D.K., Lecturer, Marketing Communication and Public Relations, Opaka Dakuba, Chairman, South-South, Nigerian Union of Journalists, Susan Serekara Nwikana, Chairperson, Nawach, River State, Chief Host, Dr. Chinyere Igwe, Esquire, FSM, FINC, FNINN, MNIM, ARPA, MIPPA, Chairman, Morrison Group. Date: 10th of March 2025. Venue: Dimeji Banquet Hall, Bay Place Hotel, Kilometer 5 East West Road by Obinkwere Flyover, Rumosi, Port Harcourt. Time is 11 a.m.
Call Kehinde Paul Obofadi on 0802 301 5728. That is 0802 301 5728 or info@atlanticnetwork.tv or info@wishfm995ph.com. You can also call Laurentia Ogu on 0818 344 6746. That is 0818 344 6746 or lead content at atlanticnetwork.tv. This is signed by management.
Welcome back. Indigenes of the Federal Capital Territory (FCT) have proposed that Kwali be made the capital when the territory is given state status. The Etsu of Kwali, Mr. Luka Nizasan III, disclosed this in an interview on Wednesday in Kwali, the headquarters of Kwali Area Council. The Etsu said that a document had been submitted for the review of the 1999 Constitution to give FCT its state status. He said in the proposal submitted by the original inhabitants of FCT and other stakeholders, Kwali should be made the headquarters of the state. The traditional ruler also appealed to the federal government to establish a tertiary institution in Kwali to fast-track developments in the area council. According to him, by FCT master plan, Kwali is the educational hub for the territory, hence the sitting of National Educational Research and Development Council, an institution responsible for developing educational curriculums in the area. He added that the National Mathematical Center, SIDA Science and Technology, and National Seed Council are all located in Kwali as a regional educational zone for the FCT. The University of Abuja was located in Gwagwalada because Kwali was formerly the headquarters of Gwagwalada Area Council. This is why I'm appealing for the establishment of a tertiary institution in Kwali to support already established institution in the council, he pleaded. Nizasan specifically appealed to the federal government to consider sitting the recently approved FCT Federal Polytechnic in Kwali. According to him, Kwali has what it takes to structure the land for Polytechnic to be located in the council. Well, this is out of many proposal that has come from indigenes of states in the country. We've heard from the Ogoni people asking for Bori states, but there are other indigenes that have also come to speak up for some of the local governments that they have to be converted into states. But I'd love to get your thoughts on this new state creation that they've actually put into our thoughts in the country.
Okay, the first thing generally that I like to say is that Nigeria is a federal, operates a federal system of government. In fact, the full name is actually Federal Republic of Nigeria, and people tend to forget. And when you say that a system is a federal system, part of what it means is that you have units within that enclave that are supposed to have some level of independence, of autonomy. Yeah. And these are called federating units that come together and then they're able to form the federation. And these federating units in our own case now have moved from being called regions to now being called states. Now, one thing is interesting, that the capacity of these federating units to hold any kind of leverage, acting alone or in concert, to checkmate the power and the influence of the federal government, depends on certain parameters. And we are losing that when we get to a place where the federal government can now create states at whim. Very soon, states will now become like local governments. And that means that we will no longer rightly call ourselves a federal system. Yeah. Even now, the claim to being called federal is in question. Because increasingly, the federal government is appropriating a lot of power to itself, a lot of resources, and increasingly, the autonomy, the independence that the states ought to have over certain local concerns are also disappearing. Yeah. A few years ago, we used to talk seriously in academics and all that about fiscal federalism, about the rights of states to hold to their resources and pay tax to the federal government. No state can even have the power to say that anymore, because the states are being dissected and reduced almost to the status of local government. So, and does that really, with all the states being created, with the local government, have we solved the issues of development? Have we solved the issues of corruption? Are we just duplicating the centers of corruption and graft? So what is really the attraction? So why not, let's focus on making these systems, these states work, making them accountable, making them deliver on the dividends of democracy. And with respect to the particular case of the FCT, the original design of FCT, part of the reason why capital was moved from Lagos to FCT is to create a neutral territory, to create a territory that is not at the border for strategic security reasons of the state capital, one, to create an environment that is neutral, where everybody can come and feel a sense of ownership, a sense of belonging. To say you want to make a state out of FCT and then people are now claiming indigenship to the level that they want a state is against the original intentions of the FCT. Let me tell you, FCT is one of the few states, cities, Abuja is one of the few territories, cities in the world that was built from the scratch in modern times. Built from the scratch. What that also implies is that that arid environment was built with the resources of the Niger Delta. Okay. And now suddenly, people now want that place to be converted into a state where they have indigenship and ownership over. What is the implication of that going forward?